Hello again, Warren here with the Peach State Prime channel, and today we're gonna, in this video, I'm playing catch-up, because, as you all know, I was traveling a lot over the summer, and then for the America 250 road trip, and during that road trip, I filmed a lot of content. And in keeping with my, every other day upload, which, seems to be working for my viewers, that stretched, through about mid-August. And, and didn't want to overload everybody with every day or too much in one video, too many places. So, one of the things I've started doing on the channel are movie reviews, and summer's prime time for movies. Well, between traveling and those extra videos that I had, didn't have a chance to review really 3 big movies that I saw over the summer. And you can see behind me, I am in my Transformers room / office. I have some stuff that I threw up on my Transformers shelf that might be indicating which movies I'll be talking about. Now, I did get my video review out before our trip of Toy Story 5. Yeah, we're on 5 now. And, which was pretty enjoyable. But, I did want to take the chance. And again, like I said, just play catch up. Give my thoughts on some of the big releases that have come out that I was able to see in theaters. Now, I'm going to keep it spoiler free, because I know some people either haven't made it to see these movies out there because they're traveling or whatnot, or they wait till it's on streaming, and which is perfectly understandable with how fast that turnaround is nowadays. But gonna take each one of these, again, spoiler free, and if I got anything from the theaters, which is really only the case for one, I'll show that during the review as well. So, and like my other reviews, I like the clips before jumping into the reviews. So, let's start with our first movie and our first clip. And, again, we'll go from there.
Oh, les poupouillous! Hé, 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 ballon! Aduh! Kami nyambut dah, poupouillou! Kami! Phew, la partie d'eau. Whoopsie.
All right, so the first film I saw upon returning back from my trip was Minions and Monsters. Of course, another entry into the extended Despicable Me universe. And, that they all kind of intertwine each other, whether it's Despicable Me or one of the Minions releases. And you see, I do have 2 of my Minions up on my shelves here. See them? From previous films they were inspired by. So, Minions and Monsters. I enjoyed it. As did my entire family. It's your traditional zany Minions adventure. One thing that's different this time is, while they do, of course, end up, all the Minions from around the world seem like they eventually meet up with Gru, by the time, prior to the first Despicable Me film taking place. This follows a different group of Minions than we had in the past 2 Despicable Me spin-offs, the Minions films. Which is a first. I understand why they did it. It's just interesting. Doesn't really take away from the story, just something I found interesting. The laughs were there. The only thing that I have to critique is I feel that the marketing showed us too much. I feel that, all the really funny moments I had already seen in a social media post, a trailer, or a TV commercial. There were still funny parts that were not in those promotional items, but, everybody knows there's a scene where they encounter a mummy, and he gets unraveled because one of the minions is using him like toilet paper. That's hilarious. Unfortunately, I knew to expect it, so it wasn't quite as, didn't land quite as strong as it could have. And I'm not saying don't show any of the funny stuff. You got to get people to the theater. But, that was one thing there. One of the funny parts that I really, all of us, like especially me, and you've met my younger son Landon in my other videos. There's this part where this one minion, there's a train, and he keeps going toot toot, and it's cute, but it's also hilarious. Because there's a callback to it throughout. As far as the film and the story itself, it was unique. Is really what I can say. It was different from anything, from this franchise that we've seen so far. I have to be honest, though, I do think it might have been probably the weakest one in terms of the story. I mean, I liked the new characters, especially, I forget his name, it's been a while. The little green guy voiced by Trey Parker. Who did a great job with that voice acting. I'd say it's probably the weakest one, only because it is so different, maybe. It doesn't mean it's not a good film. I say weakest one. You also got to realize how many films are in this franchise now. And, hopefully I hope they keep going. My family enjoys them. And I think maybe part of why that is, too, is, again, I won't say what happens, but the way the movie ends, you start to question a lot about what you just saw. And again, without going into spoilers, I can't say too much more. So I guess that's probably part of it. So, not a bad film, but, again, not the strongest from the franchise either. And would I recommend seeing it? Sure, And by the time this video, I'm recording this, it's the beginning of August. Probably come out about mid-August. You probably want to go and wait for streaming at that point. Or if you have a discount theater, or heck, even a drive-in that shows it as an extra movie. Or if you go for one of those like kids movies, if they're offering it during the week. I'd recommend seeing it then. Otherwise, I'd wait for streaming at this point. So, let's go on to our next film.
Gods have given me a boat! And a tiny little human. Well, hello, tiny human. Not too sure why they thought I needed you. You could take back the little human! I'm gonna eat whatever that is.
It's a chicken. His name is Hey Hey.
His name is Yum Yum when he goes in my tum-tum.
All right, and this, of course, is Moana, or more accurately, the live-action remake of Moana. Now, this film has a lot of conflicting reviews out there and viewpoints. Now, I don't have anything on my shelf behind me. I just don't have any Moana merchandise, nor did I get any from my local theater. My family is a big fan of the original Moana, and we enjoyed the sequel that came out, I think it was just, last year maybe? What was funny is in an interview we saw with where they were interviewing Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, he said he left from recording his voice for Moana 2 right into filming the live-action adaptation of the first Moana film. So, the film itself is strong. You know, if you take the film by itself, forget that it's a remake, forget, you know, it's a readaptation or anything, it is a good film. You know, there's really nothing to dislike about it. Effects are fantastic. Acting is great. You know, they have all the memorable music in it. It's a solid film, and we enjoyed it because we like Moana. Now, the criticism that I do have, and I know a lot of people share this, is number one, you know, some of the live action Disney remakes, you know, put maybe a little twist in there or change something up a little bit. This is very, very much the same exact story as the animated film. Minus a little bit of extra backstory on Maui, which is maybe a minute and a half of the film, if even that. It's very much almost frame for frame remake, a retelling of the original story. So not a lot of new is offered there. Even the songs are performed essentially the same, which I like personally. But, you know, if you've seen the animated film, you've seen this film in a way. The other criticism, which I guess I also share, is when you get to the point where you're making live action remakes of films that were originally computer animated or CGI, you know, those elements that in today's filmmaking are going to be CGI once again, albeit maybe slightly more realistic looking, it's hard to make that look different enough from what was already featured in the original animation. Give you a point in case, Hey Hey and Puya, I believe's the pig's name. Honestly, you could show me probably a still from the animated film and the live action of those characters, and I couldn't tell you the difference. Which one was which, that is. The same goes for Te Fiti, as well as her, what's her mean form? But anyways, they look the same as the animated pretty much, maybe slightly more realistic. And then you have Tamatoa, the giant crab, who's very much the same looking. Even, and I haven't looked it up, but the voice even sounds the same. So, you know, that, and then the animations on Maui's body, you know, his tattoos that move, look just like the cartoon. Then, you know, the Kakamora, the little coconut guys. So I feel like they changed them up a little bit more than some of the others, but again, they're still very similar. And then during the song You're Welcome, there's a lot of, during the whole musical segment, there's a lot of, you know, CGI characters and imagery that shows up. And it's different from the original a little bit, as far as how that's done. But at the end of the day, it looks cartoonish. So I understand where the criticisms are with the film. Again, it's a fun film. If you like Moana, you're going to like this film. I'm not saying it's bad in the least bit. I think the big question is, was it needed for as similar as it is to the original in both storytelling and effects? That's like when the day comes, and we all know it's coming, when we get the live-action Frozen. You know, I expect Olaf to look just like the cartoon or the original and have Josh Gad's voice. And it's tough, too. I'm gonna defend Disney a little bit here, too, because it's tough. If they decide to do a live-action remake of a CGI animated film, people want what's familiar to them. They don't want something that's completely different from what they're used to. But at the same time, then you have what happened with Moana here, where it's the same thing with just like live people inserted in, you know, almost like Roger Rabbit, not quite as extreme, you know, I'll take that back. But But again, we enjoyed the film as a family, but I definitely understand where some of the criticisms are. And again, all I can say is if you like Disney, you like Moana, you're going to like the film. And at this time, I believe it's still playing in some theaters, but again, you're just like with Minions and Monsters, probably best to wait for streaming or some sort of discount showing. So on to our third and final film I want to talk about.
I got you, Spidey! No, I don't need you. Hey, stop! You okay, kid? Yeah, you're okay. See you later.
And this, of course, is Spider-Man Brand New Day. The film that, even on the Thursday night of its release, has been breaking records all summer. Easily going to be probably the top earning film of the summer, if not the year. Toward the end of the year, we do have Avengers Doomsday coming out. I don't know if that'll beat Spider-Man Brand New Day or not. We'll just have to see. Now, this is the review I really need to watch my spoilers. We saw it the Saturday of opening weekend, and I liked the film. It is the most different Spider-Man film we have received. I'm going all the way back to Tobey Maguire. I'm going, I'll even include the Spider-Verse films, Andrew Garfield, and of course everything that Tom Holland has given us so far, both under the Spider-Man banner and the larger MCU or Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was a solid film. It was a solid Spider-Man adventure. It does heavily rely on that extended Marvel universe rather than Spider-Man being his own contained thing. In the marketing, you already know that the Hulk is in it. And from the marketing, you also know it's classic Hulk. They do give you an explanation of how he gets from where he was in Avengers Endgame to and the She-Hulk show to classic Hulk again, which I appreciated. Punisher is in this. I'll be honest, a lot of younger viewers probably aren't as familiar with Punisher because all of his content leading up to this has been very mature in nature as far as MCU is concerned. But they did a good PG-13 version of him. He still says the bulk of the the foul language that appears in the movie. But, it's PG-13, so it's what you expect. And he did, I think that relationship between the two characters was great. There's been a lot of speculation around Sadie Sink and her character. Again, she's from the Stranger Things universe. It's what she's best known for. I will say, if you haven't seen the film yet, she does play one of the fan-speculated characters. It was not the one I was hoping for. However, she did a great job portraying the character that she did. And I expect to see her in a lot more MCU projects going forward. And I think the inclusion of her worked. Her character, again, I'm really trying not to spoil anything here. Some people did not care in my, the people I saw it with did not necessarily care for that inclusion of the character who she portrayed. But, I think it worked as a standalone Spider-Man story. It is not your classic, here's Spider-Man versus Green Goblin, Doc Ock, heck, even Venom. It is a very different film that doesn't have a super clearly defined villain throughout. It does, but it doesn't. That's all I can really say on that. Effects and acting were great. I love Spider-Man's suit in this one. It's the classic. It's bright blue instead of the red, and blue, but the blue on it is really bright blue. Very similar to what we saw at the end of No Way Home. And, I really, it's a classic look. It's not black or dark or, the Iron Spider outfit that we've seen him in the MCU frequently. So again, just a good film. My favorite Tom Holland one is, well, by default, is No Way Home. And I guess you could also say that's my favorite, one featuring the other Spider-Man as well. But that one was very much, a twist on the Sinister Six story while still being a multi-dimensional, multi-universal film. And just had a lot going for it that I don't know if it can be topped. But again, No Way Home was still, Brand New Day was very much a strong film. Now, there is some dealing with the fallout of No Way Home in it, with, of course, nobody remembering Peter Parker as Spider-Man or who Peter Parker is. And I think it's handled very well. For the story they told, I don't know if I'd really change much of anything. They did a great job. Now, I will go ahead and tell you this. There is no mid-credit scene, which is kind of odd for a Marvel release. Even though it is Sony, any MCU release really usually hits it hard with the mid-credit and after-credit scene. There is an after-credit scene, though. It is very short. Does it tease something for the future? It does, in a very light way. I will say it's me knowing the comics and Spider-Man's story. I even heard people shouting out, "Oh, Avengers Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday." I'm going to spoil this for you. That teaser is not for Avengers Doomsday. At least in my opinion, if they're going where I think they are, I believe it's teasing an upcoming MCU project that follows that. And I'll stop there before I say too much. But I did get some merchandise. So let's show you that. First thing, this was not from the theater. This is actually from Little Caesars. They have a whole line of different, kind of cardboard posters, lithographs, if you will. And this one, of course, says Brand New Day. There's Spidey. And you can see there's this shiny little character there. That's the Little Caesar mascot swinging from a web with a pizza. So this was cool. And I will say this is a spoiler, but not really. It's not a spoiler. I'm kidding. Little Caesars makes an appearance in the film. So product placement. And if you can't tell, I am doing this in my Transformers room. Oh, I already said that, I believe. That's not wanting to stay there. Other things we got. So my kids did each get one of the cups. We went to AMC. See, it has cool graphics on the side. And this is the type where they change it up by having a different topper for each cup. And the way they have them is you pick it up through the concession line. This is bagged, inside the cup, and then you put it on top. So it's kind of almost like a blind box. This one's really cool. It has Spider-Man eating popcorn on a steel beam, sideways. Or I guess you can make him right side up, but or even upside down. But, thought this was a lot of fun. They were out of popcorn buckets. But like I said, we did get 2 cups. And the cup's the same, but the topper on this one's different. It's Spider-Man, you know, doing the classic superhero pose and ready to sling off on his next adventure. And, you know, I think this one looks pretty cool as well. Maybe not as funny as the other one, but cool nonetheless. And then the other thing we each got one of these. Turns out the day we saw the film was actually Spider-Man Day. So certain theaters were giving out these buttons. Try to make it, I know the glare's really bad. I kept mine in the package so far. There we go. So you see it says Spider-Man Brand New Day. And then you have, you know, the classic round spider logo or Spider-Man logo. And it's not like a hat pin. It is very much like a button, but very cool, you know, and something that you got totally free just for seeing the movie on that day. They were, you know, as they scanned your ticket, saw you were seeing Spider-Man, they handed you a button. So, you know, couldn't go wrong there. So anyways, that is going to do it for kind of this catch up and recap of some of the summer's biggest movies that we saw as a family in the theater. And, you know, sorry they're a little delayed, but like I said, just had a lot of content to post lately. And wanted to make sure I still included these, even though I didn't do it from the theater like I would traditionally. But anyways, I still hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like here on YouTube. And of course, leave a comment. You know, have you seen Minions and Monsters, Moana, and or Spider-Man Brand New Day? What'd you think of the films? You know, let me know in the comments here. And of course, subscribe to the Peach State Prime channel for more, you know, content like this, whether it be movie reviews, you know, seeing tourist attractions, amusement parks, fun places to shop and eat. Just try to keep it fun and different on the channel. And, you know, subscribe so you don't miss any of it. If you'd like to learn more about me and my YouTube projects, feel free to check out peachstateprime.com, where you can do so. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you have a great day, and God bless.